Hey everyone, welcome back. We have another testimonial from one of our Heinum program's participants. And this is a testimony about the core program. And I have my brother, Allister Goff from the UK here. Hey, Allister.
Hey, everyone.
So, just to get into it, you joined core, I think, last cycle, as you know.
hmm Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. What was it? How did you stumble? How did you find core? And what inspired you to join?
Yeah, so I'd only recently stumbled across High Noon at that time.
Mm.
Um, so I was getting to know what it was, what High Noon was, the people who run it, and then naturally just by uh, learning more about High Noon and the activities that were going on at the time, core came to my attention. Uh, And yeah, I read the description about being a marriage preparation program. And yeah, as somebody who was at the time really trying to make strides in his preparation for the matching and getting blessed, I decided to join. And yeah, that's how that came about.
Hey, cool. Yeah, so you went into it already with the intention, like your goal was to prepare as well as possible for marriage, and you thought call was a good avenue kind of to go down.
Yeah, exactly. That was a thought process.
Okay. Yeah, cool. How was joining core? How did the program unfold for you? And
Yeah, call was great. I'm incredibly glad that I decided to join. The main benefit that I received was the brothers that I could be surrounded with. Core gave me a platform where I could discuss very interesting topics about sexuality and other things with other brothers, which isn't something that you naturally or dynamically get the chance to talk about in um in an everyday setting, I think.
Mm.
So yeah, I was grateful that, and I think only with a program like this, can you have those kind of conversations. So that was a massive plus. And then on top of having that discussion platform, um, it provided me with a platform to also just review my weekly behavior with the same brothers, and that was massive because only by checking in weekly and being able to review my behavior every single week was I able to grow and see what I could improve on for subsequent weeks. And yeah, and yeah, they also provided me with a source of inspiration, and I think 100% it went both ways. It was a mutual thing. That I got inspiration, I provided them inspiration. So yeah, having a platform of or having a group of brothers to discuss and also to motivate each other were, I think, the two main benefits from my core experience.
Mhm. That's great. Yeah, that's great, man. And then I guess what the meat of this is, the meaty part is how did core and having this platform of brothers, right, that you could share with and from week to week, like progressively check in with each other and just the core program in general. How do you think it helped you with your goal, right? To prepare for marriage and prepare for matching and blessing.
hmm Yeah, for sure. For me personally, shadows in your life don't need to be uh, exclusively in the realm of sexual integrity. Um, we can have shadows in many areas of our lives, such as relationships, other bad habits like excessive social media consumption, and other self-destructive behaviors like just sleeping too much, being a lazy person. Yeah, I would consider these shadows just as much as those commonly referred to in the realm of sexual integrity. So, yeah, this was a realization that core provided me with. There's many ways in which I can be a better person. Um, so yeah, this is a takeaway that I now have that I think has prepared me well for my future marriage. And yeah, I feel like this has definitely progressed me towards my initial marriage prep goal.
That's cool. Yeah. Yeah. So you realize it's not only, I guess sometimes we focus a lot on one area in life. Like for a long time, I guess for many of us of our generation, it was just focused on faith. And that's going to prepare you best for the blessing. And it's undeniably a really big part to prepare for marriage and blessing. But what I heard you say is you learned that there's actually a lot of different areas in life, and you'd like to approach all of them with in a high noon way, like with integrity and giving your best. And yeah, what are some of those areas? Where could you see that? Okay, these are areas in your life that need your attention to prepare for marriage.
Honestly, the biggest one was relationships. I had some undesirable habits in some of my most important relationships.
Mm.
Um, yeah, the most evident one to me was my relationship with my brother. And yeah, I left that unresolved for a long time, and only really until I joined core did it become aware to me that shucks, this is a problem. Um,
Mm.
this isn't a high noon relationship. Our communication skills are not of a high noon standard, you know. So yeah, since then, I've definitely made progress. I've been very intentional with resolving the main issue, which was just a communication issue, really. You know, for a long time, I thought, as close as brothers we are, that we had a objectively good relationship, but I realized that no, we had a lot of very evident limitations in just communicating with each other. I would
Mm.
do something that to me seemed like I was communicating, but to him was not. And you know, he would get annoyed, and it would go both ways. He would do something, you know, I would get annoyed, and like, to me, that's a massive um, flaw that I can see being a very big issue in my future marriage. You know, I want to be somebody who can talk and effectively translate my feelings and my emotions to my spouse, and I would like them to be able to do the same thing. So yeah, it's a work in progress that is definitely getting there, and um, yeah, only through core was I able to even make a start on that journey. So yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. So core brought especially relationship, area of relationship to your attention. Right. And seeing where, yeah, you mentioned like that your communication, right, specifically with your brother, but that you became more aware of. What did that you mentioned? What did that mean to you to bring your communication and relationship level to a high noon standard? Right, you mentioned high noon standard. Oh, what did
Mm.
that mean to you?
It meant to yeah, just be more loving, really. Try not to get unnecessarily annoyed or have resentment because of one person's actions, but instead to look at the situation from a more loving viewpoint. So if somebody in a relationship does something that annoys you, you know, pisses you off, even like you yeah, you choose to love instead of just getting annoyed and reacting with resentment, that will ultimately not lead to a productive outcome. So yeah, a high noon standard, you know, made me yeah choose the loving approach, and that's something I'm actively trying to do from here on out.
Okay, yeah, that's really cool. Standard, and I guess yeah, what I'm hearing is to not leave unresolved things in relationships, but kind of bring them out, not leave them in the shadows, but bring them into the light and be able to talk about them. And you said that that's a skill, right? Or an ability that you'd like to translate into your marriage in the future, how to
Mhm.
communicate what's inside of you. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. And to be a little bit more specific, I guess, is there anything new that you've learned about sexuality during core, since it's marriage prep program and it's including learning about sexuality? Has there been anything, maybe to start with, what was your concept about sexuality before you joined core?
Mhm. Yeah. So before I joined, I think my understanding of sex was a divine thing. Yeah, I really did think it was this holy experience that was invented by God. Um, I knew that, in my head, but my feeling from everything I'd seen growing up in media, films, movies, word of mouth, just yeah, growing up my whole teenhood into early adulthood was that it's more of a kind of dirty, unclean, self-centered experience that you engage in for yourself for your own for your own self-pleasure. So that's how I intellectually knew the God-centered standpoint, but like my emotional sort of understanding of what sex was very much in the dirty and self-centered standpoint.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, so you already kind of you knew intellectually, and maybe you've heard already from like previous talks about sex is divine, sexuality is something holy, right? But then there was a discrepancy to your experience, I guess, from society, daily life. Yeah, how did that change or how did that develop in course? Is there anything new that you've learned about sexuality?
It definitely changed. And I would say reading Core of the Universe was the device that brought the change.
Hmm.
Throughout the whole book, it just constantly just talks about how sex it's a device, it's a platform using such technical words for such a natural and beautiful process, but something that should be used to become more intimate and closer to your spouse. That's the image that I was made aware of through reading Core of the Universe, the book.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's great. Of course, I mean, there's only as much, right, as you can learn about sexuality before marriage and then after. But so, yeah, thank you for sharing that. So far that core has been really a platform, right, of community with other brothers in the same sphere of life preparing for marriage that allowed you to learn how to prepare for marriage in many areas of your life and which ones need attention, and that not only sexual integrity requires you to have integrity, but other areas like relationships, they have this can be applied, right? And checking, oh, is there anything hidden, anything unresolved that I can still bring up and resolve? And then in sexuality, right, that you've learned more about, I guess, God's design or holiness of sexuality. Yeah. Is there anything else that you'd like to add, or if I got it wrong, that you'd like to correct about your experience? And
Yeah, let me see. I think just generally, I'd like to highlight the point I mentioned at the start about how core really is an experience that I think anyone can benefit from. Um, because it highlights that shadows can be in every realm. So I would like whoever's listening to just not be discouraged by the fact that I mean, or have this idea that it's purely for people who are struggling with sexual integrity. Yeah, it's not exclusively for that. I would say, like for me personally, I would say I was pretty secure in my own sexual integrity before joining core. So for my own intentions, that's not the main reason why I joined. Um, and I can confidently say that you had a blast, and I definitely benefited from this program. Um, so for the person who's listening to this, who maybe just has this concept in their head that it's only for individuals who are striving to overcome or improve with their sexual integrity, I would disagree with that. Just say no, openly, it's more than that, and you can definitely still benefit, even if you feel like you're very secure in your sexual integrity. So yeah.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I think that's actually a really important point that you're addressing because you mentioned, right, it wasn't actually your main focus when joining core. Your sexual integrity is something you felt pretty stable in already. Um, so I guess just to highlight it and like emphasize it, in core, you were able to experience how high noon culture and living without shadows, how that applies to your life in general, and not only to the sexual area.
100%.
Cool. Yeah, that's really cool because yeah, I think that's many people's maybe misconception, or for some people who don't like to talk about sexuality, yet it can be a turnoff, right? And they don't necessarily want to join the Ascend program, which is specifically for recovery and got enough people in it. Um, but core is actually broader in that sense, right? And kind of all inclusive of areas in life that play and have significance and relevance for preparing for marriage.
Hmm. Yeah, 100%.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you, Alistair, for sharing, and thanks everyone for listening. There's another testimony about the core program, and we'll see you again for the next testimonial about another program.